For decades, we've had this really simple, almost rigid way of measuring if a project was a success. But what if that whole formula is just wrong? It might be time to completely rethink what it means for a project to actually succeed.
So, what really makes a project successful? I can tell you right now, the answer isn't as simple as just ticking a few boxes on a checklist. It's about something way deeper and, honestly, a lot more valuable in the long run.
Okay, think about the movie Titanic. When it came out in '97, by every traditional metric, it was a total disaster. It was super late, wildly over budget, but then it became this massive cultural phenomenon and made over $1 billion. This one example just blows the doors off our old way of thinking about success and failure.
Yeah, that whole Titanic situation really makes you question the model we've been using for like the last 50 years to decide what's a success. So let's actually dig into that old model.
And this is it, the famous Iron Triangle. For half a century, the rules of the game were super simple. Deliver on time, stay on budget, and hit the original scope. You nail all three, you're a hero. You miss even one, you've got a problem.
Right, so here's the big takeaway. The Iron Triangle just doesn't tell the whole story. It's incomplete. Titanic missed the mark on time and cost, but was still this massive, massive success. And that shows us the old model completely ignores a huge piece of the puzzle, the final outcome and the value it creates. So, this really forces our hand. We have to redefine what success even means. It's not some single, objective thing. It's all about perspective. What looks like a failure to one person could be a huge win for someone else.
And this difference in perspective is absolutely crucial. On one side, you've got the completion criteria. This is the project manager's world, right? It's all about deadlines, budgets, scope. But then, on the other side, you have the satisfaction criteria. This is what the users and the business care about. And they're asking a totally different set of questions. Did we build the right thing? Does it actually work for us? Does it bring any real value?
Here's a great way to think about it. Imagine a new shopping mall gets built. Let's say it goes way over budget. That's a big fail on the completion side. But what if customers absolutely love it? Shoppers are flocking there, the stores are making a ton of money. Well, then it's a huge success on the satisfaction side. So which one do you think really matters when all is said and done? Okay, so how do we build a better model? One that actually captures both of these things, completion and satisfaction. Well, let's start with a pretty well-known framework that gives us a solid base to build on.
These are the classic 4 Ps that you see in a lot of software projects. You've got people, the team, the stakeholders, everyone involved. Product, that's the thing you're actually building. Process, the specific steps you take to build it. And finally, the project itself, the plan, the deadlines, the budget. It's a really solid starting point.
But, and there's always a but, right? While those 4 things are a great base, today's software projects are just way more complicated. We need a framework that's built for that complexity. And that brings us to a much more powerful framework. This one is designed from the ground up to handle the messiness and complexity of modern software development.
So here's how we build it out. We start with those foundational 4 Ps we just talked about. Then we add a really crucial modern element, technology. The tools, the platforms, the whole tech stack. Next, we make sure we're thinking ahead by adding in risk. And finally, maybe the most important part, we connect everything back to the organization's goals with business.
And here it is, the 4PTRB framework. It takes those original 4 Ps and integrates them with technology, risk, and business. And what you get is this really powerful, complete 360-degree view of what it actually takes to make a project succeed today.
The real magic of this model is just how comprehensive it is. It makes you think about everything, from stakeholder communication and risk assessment, all the way to benefit management and choosing the right technology. It covers all the bases.
Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, right? But the big question is, does it actually work in the real world? Well, let's take a look at the evidence.
So to put this framework to the test, researchers went straight to the people on the front lines. They surveyed 123 software professionals from all over the world to find out what they think is most important for a project to succeed.
And the results? They were pretty fascinating. When they asked all these pros to rank what's most important, what do you think came out on top? It was people, by a pretty solid margin too. They said that managing the human element, the team, the communication, the leadership, is the single most critical factor for success. And that totally makes sense, doesn't it? At the end of the day, a project is only as good as the people who are building it.
But they didn't just stop at a survey. They took it a step further. They applied the framework to 20 real-world software projects to see if it could move beyond just opinion and actually predict success with hard data.
This number right here, this is a big deal. It's what's called a correlation coefficient. Basically, it measures how closely two things are linked. A perfect link is a 1.0. So getting a score of over 0.95, that is an extremely strong connection. To put it simply, the more a project followed this framework, the more successful it turned out to be. The link is just undeniable.
And this graph really paints the picture. That green line, that's the actual success score of the projects, rated by the managers. The blue line is the success score that was predicted by the 4P-TRB framework. Look at how closely they track each other. It's almost a perfect match. This is some really powerful proof that focusing on these 7 areas isn't just a good idea, it directly leads to better, more predictable results.
So what's the bottom line here? The old iron triangle, it's a relic. It's outdated. True, modern project success is all about creating value. So the question I want to leave you with is this. For your next project, are you just going to measure whether you built the thing on time and on budget? Or are you going to measure whether you built a success?